Alrighty, everyone, welcome to a special little edition of Robots Attack. We're just back from Silicon Valley Comic Con. I'm Joe, and with me is, of course,
Caleb.
that's right. We're here to discuss the times we had over the weekend at Silicon Valley Comic Con. We kind of
hmm
each went our separate ways, so we got a chance to kind of experience various things, and so we'll talk about that and go over our thoughts on the con itself and the things we checked and everything like that. And so yeah, what what all did you do while you were at the con?
Let's see. What the first day we kind of hung out in the dealer room, and then on the second day I did a bunch of panels. Um, th- I had the good fortune to have Elaine join me for Saturday, and we brought our little one along, and she actually got to uh, meet Nichelle Nichols, who she
Nice,
is
nice.
she's personally named after, so that was really cool.
So how was it like? 'Cause I mean, baby's first con. How how was the whole
Sh
experience?
it was pretty great. Um, she uh, uh, she was super chill, wasn't any trouble at all. It was a lot of fun. Like she was just hanging out, playing with and watching everything that happened around her. And when she got to meet Nichelle, she was all happy and bouncy and just like everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh, so cute." It's like, yes, yes, she is. She's quite the attention grabber. Like the like she was Nichelle was supposed to have been on a panel with Pam Grier that we were at this morning, and while I didn't, she wasn't quite able to make it for that due to all of the extra traffic that was
Yeah.
happening around the convention center that day. But Pam came by Nichelle's table and they said hi, and so there was some of the con photographers snapping pictures of them, and then we were right behind. We were next in line effectively to meet Nichelle, so.
Oh,
We
nice.
got a bunch of cameras popped out as soon as the interval baby came up. They're like, "Oh my gosh!" Snap, 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 snap. Like, yes, yes, my baby is adorable.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool if
So that was
they.
kind of the highlight of that day. Go ahead.
That'd be. Oh, I'll just say, yeah, that'd be cool if you like end up seeing like that those pictures like up on various stuff like oh Shell Nichols and the baby and Wonder Woman baby
Oh,
and
it's okay. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna be kind of keeping an eye on their Facebook page, see if we see anything pop up there.
yeah I
But yeah,
for me
that was our big day. hmm
on Saturday I kind of did almost the opposite of you. Like Saturday was my like panel day. Um,
hmm
so like for me, I started it off. I went to the they had a next generation like 30th anniversary panel that they like
Nice.
like for this year since it's the second year Silicon Valley Comic Con, like they branched out this time. They actually like used some of the buildings like surrounding the convention center instead of like last year was all just in the convention
The
center
convention center.
mostly. So so with this one they it's like they're kind of planning ahead for it to become bigger, even though it's like
hmm
not super big yet. And they're kind of hoping, but I think they kind of want to set it up to as it grows, they can kind of already have a solid foundation. But so they use this, bigger auditorium where they've had like musicians and stuff play, and so they held it
hmm
there, and that was the only one that required like a ticket purchase. Like I remember last year, the Back to the Future panel. Um, that one required a separate ticket, like not just the um, you know pass, like convention pass. So
Uh-huh.
this was the only one this year that required like separate ticket, and it was like $10. So I was like, whatever.
Sure.
That's nothing. So yeah,
Right.
it was a pretty cool panel. It was like moderated by William Shatner, and then it had
Nice.
Brent Spiner, Gates McFadden, um, Jonathan Frakes, uh, Marina. Oh man, I always space on her last name, but Counselor Troy.
Sirtis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like LeVar Burton was supposed
Yeah,
to
he
be
did,
there,
sort of.
but he
He saw her in the panel. Sorry.
oh.
Hmm. Go ahead.
uh, it, LeVar Burton was supposed to be there, but uh, wasn't, and so they had I don't know the actor's name. I kind of feel bad, but like he he was one of the Klingons, and I know it was like, oh, just some random Klingon. It's like, no, like if you saw a picture of this guy in his Klingon, get up and everything, you'd be like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, if you're familiar with the Next Generation, which usually people who would go to
Hmm.
the 30th anniversary panel of something like that would be somewhat familiar with the show, you'd probably recognize this guy.
Right.
Like, in fact, he like did his he kind of looked at the camera because they had like two monitors up in the top, so people in the
Hmm.
back or up on top uh, could see the stage. He kind of did like a sort of classic look that he does, and like his eyes kind of really wide, and he kind of turned side to side, and like even without the Klingon makeup on, like, oh, that guy. Okay, I
Yeah,
recognize that guy.
yeah.
So,
He played Galron. Let's see if I can find
oh, okay.
Tim something or other, if memory serves.
Uh, but
Oh,
yeah,
no, Robert O'Reilly. There we go.
okay, there you go. There you go for Robert O'Reilly fans out there. Uh, but yeah, that was a cool panel. Like that spanned like topics from obviously the show to like politics, like and I
Hmm.
I'd probably say like Marina was kind of like took over the show, kind of stole the show. Like she like was kind of constantly talking, but it was like a ton of fun. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I could see her being one to like to talk.
yeah, but yeah, they even like someone asked if they ever brought back gargoyles, like would they be interested in doing it? And everyone who had been on the show like said yes. Like she kind of jokingly said like, oh well, if it's like a live action thing, I'm probably too old to do it,
Hmm.
which like the audience kind of laughed and stuff. Uh, but yeah, she even joked too for like people who aren't familiar with gargoyles. She's like, yeah, it was this show that kind of like just about everyone from Star Trek eventually ended up being on. So
Right? Which is always like kind of like the running gag almost of gargoyles.
yeah. But yeah, I had to like jot down a few notes of some uh memorable kind of moments because I knew like there was a lot of really funny parts and everything. I knew like, oh man, I'll never like remember everything, but a
Hmm.
couple things that I jotted down just to kind of have for this kind of discussion. But uh, there was a question regarding Star Trek Discovery. Like when
Hmm.
that eventually comes out and stuff, and fan had asked like, "Oh, what are your guys' thoughts on Star Trek Discovery? Like, are you excited? Like, would you be on it if they asked? All that sort of stuff." And um, everyone was pretty positive about it. Like, they were like, "Yeah, excited to see. Like, want to see um, more Star Trek out there. Keep it going." And uh, oh,
Hmm.
who I can't forget too, who was also on the panel was the actress who played Yar. Um,
Oh yeah, Denise Crosby.
yeah. Um, but yeah, they were all saying like they were positive, excited about it, and uh, Jonathan Frakes kind of turned it over a little bit to William Shatner, and was kind of reminiscing about like he kind of brought up Jonathan Frakes was like like it's sort of a similar thing with when the original series had ended, and then some years later, and then they have the next generation start, and he kind of turned to William Shatner and he's like, you remember when the next generation came out, and how did you feel? And William Shatner's all awful.
Hmm.
And he's like, he's not joking. Like William Shatner, he like delivers those like deadpan like lines where it's like
Hmm.
he's not joking, but it's just like the way he says it is just it's so good.
Yeah.
It's awful. And everyone laughed, of course, and stuff. And then
Hmm.
um, and then the other thing was someone a fan had asked like, okay, so now's your chance to uh throw somebody under the bus or have tell some embarrassing stories or something for the people who aren't here. And so everyone started cheering and stuff like, yeah, Um, and so Gates, she turns and goes, okay, I
Hmm.
got a story about Sir Patrick Stewart, and everyone's like cheering, yeah, yeah, And she's all, okay, you remember in Next Generation when Picard becomes the Borg, becomes the cutest. So when that happened, he was away from the set for a while. But then, he becomes Picard
Hmm.
again, and he's coming back to the set. Well, at that time, I was made captain. So she said, what I wanted to do, I wanted to play this practical joke on Patrick Stewart. So I talked to the crew and everyone. I was like, okay, help me do this. So she redid like the bridge. She put up a
Hmm.
bunch of like pictures of Wesley. She like came out in a bathrobe. She like just like rearranged like just totally redecorated like the bridge, right? And so
Hmm.
Patrick Stewart comes on the set, and she's like, now Patrick Stewart's nearsighted, so he comes on the set, and we're reading the lines, and she's like, I'm waiting for him to notice these things. I'm waiting there, and he's just like looking at the script and all around, and she's like, he didn't notice any of it. Like he didn't see. It's like I'm in a bathrobe. How could you not like? None of the pictures, like nothing. She was like, I was like, man, I was so mad. I wanted to have him right there. But, I thought that was pretty good. It's like,
That's pretty good.
I just pictured like the little uh, framed pictures of Wesley Crusher like on the
Hmm.
on the chair and stuff. But
Get that boy off my bridge.
yeah.
That's pretty good.
but yeah, overall, yeah, that was a really fun panel. And then after that, I was at the same one that you were, the Breaking Barriers with Pam Grier one. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I thought that one was interesting too. Like, it was cool like to hear from like the film perspective and from the tech industry. Like, I mean, it went
Hmm.
to it definitely went to some dark subject matter, but
Yeah.
it was cool like to hear just the different perspectives and stuff like that. And
Hmm. Yeah, kind of like how different it looks when you're when you don't fit like the quote unquote normative uh viewpoint of a lot of stuff. It's like how does life look a little different? How do people respond to you?
yeah, but yeah, it was cool too because like um I haven't seen like a whole bunch of Pam Grier's films, but I knew some,
Hmm.
but it was cool to kind of hear her history like in the film biz, like. and just
Hmm.
about her, learning about her, like growing up, knowing how to do already kind of like a bunch of stuff and not really, realizing that that was not everyone kind of had that same experience. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Like, since she's from kind of Midwest, like a lot of the things that were sort of like quote unquote action hero kind of things, like where you're like super active or knowing how to shoot a gun or stuff like that. Like she's like, yeah, she already knew how to do that in real life before she
yeah,
was told to do that as an actress. It's like, huh, it's a little different.
yeah, yeah. I was cracking up at that. The story she told about uh for Escape from L.A. with John Carpenter's
Yeah.
like yeah, I got a tube sock. I put it in my pants as her character as a guy like
Yes.
transitioning to a woman like
Hmm.
it was funny this like how am I gonna it's like her she's like thinking like okay how am I gonna get into this mindset okay all right here's what I do I went down to the store I
Hmm.
bought a big old tube sock.
Yeah. Oh, that was pretty good. Like, what?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Just kind of surprised. I'm surprised. Like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. I just,
Talk about committing to your role, right?
yeah. I, I just liked it too when she gets on set and she's walking there and she's kind of strutting and says like, "Hey man, how's it going? Hey, hey." And the guy's like, "Man, that dude looks like Pam Grier."
Just like that's when I was pretty sure that I was gonna do well at this
Yeah.
role.
Yeah. The and then like the totally different sort of panel afterwards. Like I stayed for the John Cusack one.
Hmm.
That was right
Okay,
after.
yeah.
And yeah, that one was funny because it was like they came out. It was like the moderator um, and John Cusack came out, sat down, and like immediately just went into questions. And they were like kind of not like rapid fire questions, but just some like really random and some just some you'd expect and some just like oh okay and then it was just like I guess the best way I can describe it is if you had uh, you were like flipping through the channels or an interview or something had already been
Hmm.
on and you caught it like maybe like 10 minutes in or something like that
Hmm. Makes sense.
if that makes sense like it felt like there was no
Yeah.
real sort of beginning to it like I don't know so
Like,
uh,
like yeah, like a conversation already in progress kind of thing.
yeah. Which I mean, not saying that's a bad thing or anything like that, but it was definitely different compared to the previous panels that I had watched that same day. But um, and like I could kind of tell, it seemed like it seemed like John Cusack either prefers more I don't know. Like maybe just this isn't really his thing. Like he wasn't opposed to it by any means. Like he wasn't defensive or as far as like just yes or no questions. And but I guess when I was kind of talking about it with some others, I said like you have people like Nathan Fillion who say what you will about him, like he has sort of this presence and like you can tell he just okay this is he likes to do this. He's, uh, I mean, like definitely feel free to jump
He's
in.
good at being Nathan Fillion. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Whereas like with John Cusack, it was more like get answer the question, and it'd be kind of shorter answers, nothing like super elaborate or anything, but again, nothing really defensive as far as like I really don't want to be here kind of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I,
A little more business, a little more to business as opposed to like storytelling kind of thing.
yeah, and as far as like business, you could it was still sort of he was still like casual and relaxed. He just yeah, I don't know. I guess you'd have to kind of experience it. You could you can just tell like if if you asked like Nathan Fillion or John Cusack like, "Hey, would you like to do like a Q&A?" Nathan Fillion would
Mm-hmm.
probably say yes, and John Cusack, I mean, I don't know, like if one just seems more up their alley than the other, I guess. But anyway, uh
Mm-hmm.
probably the best part about it, I think, was uh a fan had asked him like, "Do you regret doing any movies?" And he's all, "No, not really. Like I don't really think in that mindset. Like I don't, just some some things are just a job and some are more fun than others." And like the person
Mm-hmm.
asked like kind of asked again, he's all, "Really? What about 2012?" And I don't know if you're familiar with that movie, but it was a disaster movie that about the end of the world kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Uh,
Right, right, right.
pretty critically panned. Not really thought of as a great film. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but his response was the best. He's like, "Nah, brother, I got paid." So everyone just started laughing and just like, "Yeah, I mean,
Right?
it's
It's like
yeah,
it, not exactly rocket science. It feels like you're getting paid.
yeah." Uh, and
Yeah.
then
Mm-hmm.
the last panel that I went to that day was actually at the night. It was the Robert England panel, who you may be
Mm-hmm.
familiar with as Freddy Krueger. That's his most popular role, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, he will also be voicing to kind of maybe something a little more recent and relevant now. He will be voicing Scarecrow in Injustice 2. So there you go, bring it back to video
Ah.
games. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a surprisingly good panel also. Not that I thought like he would be boring, but yeah, that was a really good one too. And that one was straight up like he came out, he's all, "Let me just plug a few things first," which, you're at a panel for Robert England, so people probably aren't going to object since
Mm-hmm.
they probably want to know what he's doing next. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so he did that, got that out of the way, and then just turned it over to the audience just to ask questions and stuff. So uh, he he had he had a really good story too.
Mm-hmm.
He
Sounds cool.
was. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Get the tell the story. Sounds like fun.
Okay. So he was on the set of like a Disney movie, like a Disney live
Mm-hmm.
action movie, and he was playing one of the bad guys, and he had like a buddy bad guy with him too, and so he he said they're shooting in like Utah, like somewhere real nice nature area, and he said this movie had like a giant bear in it. And he's like, this is you're probably familiar with this bear. He's in all like the bear movies. If there's a bear, this is probably the bear that you saw. This real famous bear. And so
Mm-hmm.
he and this other guy and the bear are on the set, and then he said the crew is like all the way back shooting it with a long lens, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
he's like, the only other people near him are the bear handlers. And they've got oranges with them. So like if the bear gets riled up or something happens, he said he loves oranges, so they toss oranges at him and stuff. And they're like, okay. Uh, they're getting
Mhm.
ready. They're kind of getting ready to shoot, and then all of a sudden, um, some really attractive women start coming down on horseback, and so the crew starts the it stops shooting. The crew kind of goes over there, is talking to them and all that sort of stuff, and then the horses poop. Now that freaks the bear out. The bear does not like the horse poop. He starts getting, you can see his nose start twitching and stuff like that. So the handlers start throwing oranges and stuff, and then they stop. They stop the shoot, stop the set, clean up the poop, get it all up. The ladies leave, all that sort of thing. Get back into the
Mhm.
shot. They're lined up there. Now they need to get the bear to stand up. And so the bear stands up. And the bear's like, he's like, this bear's huge. He said, he's like, I'm 15 feet tall, higher, just, he's huge. He's set up there.
Mhm.
The two of them, they're ready to shoot. And then he leans over, and his partner, he hears, and he turns to him and he's like, "Yours poop in the pants." It's like, yes. It's like, the bear smells it. Remember, the bear doesn't like poop. So they stop shooting the set again. He had to go, he had to change, clear out his, change his underwear, that sort of thing. Now, they get the shot, but then later that day, they go back to their trailers. And he jokes
Mhm.
again, saying like, "Yeah, the Bears got a better trailer than we do," and but he goes over to his buddy he's acting with. He goes into his trailer and he opens up his refrigerator and he sees these weird kind of like vials in the refrigerator, and everyone in the audience is like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "Yeah," he's looking at it, kind of shakes it, and it's weird sort of liquid and stuff, and then he his the actor comes out, and in his hand he's got this like big ass snake, and he's milking the snake like for the venom and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
Robert England's looking at him like, what the heck? And he's like, oh yeah, I do this on the side, like this pays way more than acting. And so everyone sort of starts laughing. He's like, yeah, I mean, I gotta do this, is I don't get enough. And so Robert England like turns to him and he's like, now wait a minute. How, okay, first, like, okay, how'd you get these on here? And then the guy explains like he wrapped them in a tube sock and tied them like underneath his armpits. And he's like, yeah, because snakes
Mhm.
like hot, moist things, and that's how he got them on the plane. And then he's like, now wait a minute, we're on the set, and there's a bear, and the bear stands up, and you poop your pants. That makes you poop your pants. But here you are, you got the snake, and you're milking at its venom. Like, how does that not, like, you're scared of that, but you're not scared of this? Like, it was,
That's pretty
it
good.
was good. Yeah, everyone's all laughing and stuff. But, but yeah, I've talked a lot. Come on, it's
Nice.
your turn.
Um, yeah, like, talking about the difference in like people like responding to panels and stuff like I also got to see Adam Savage's panel on Sunday, which was
Oh, okay, nice, nice.
it sounds it was it was kind of in line with like England's style of quote unquote a panel where basically he stands up on stage and tells stories and people ask him questions. And like he talks at us all for a little bit, and then uh, uh, starts like talking about like people ask him a bunch of questions about like what was your favorite explosion on MythBusters and so on and so forth and things like
Okay,
that, and uh, uh, he like tells stories. People ask about like his cosplay history and like kind of how how he does things and what's it like to kind of be Adam, and it's just really interesting like how he like because he's more extrovert than Jamie ever was,
okay.
or will be, and just kind of like his personality type is just so very different. But at the same time, he's like, so but like being even even remotely well known, like if you are not prepared for what kind of energy uh, toll that takes on you, it will change. You can start to resent like being known by people if you don't like take care of yourself and how and boundaries and then how yourself. But the other thing is like you gotta figure out how to like meet the fans in such a way that they feel satisfied that they had a good interaction with you and you give them a bit of time and yourself and they give you the joy of meeting you and it's like oh, that's kind of interesting take and just kind of like him talking about what it was like being himself and working on Mythbusters and it's just really fun like yeah he's like and kind of inspiring because like you talking about like the way he goes about like um doing his builds and um, yeah,
Did he? Was
what's
there
his
like
name?
a flow to the panel as far as like how he did it, or was it more of a Q and A, or like how did
It
that
was much
come?
more of a lot of Q&A. Like basically he got up there. He said he did a little bit of like kind of like, "Hi, I'm Adam. This is you, you know me, yada yada." And then he's like, "And now I- I'm here to talk to you all. Like, come over here to the microphones, make lines, and ask me questions." And
Oh, okay.
And so people ran to the a couple people ran to the microphones and uh, yeah, started hitting him up with questions, and he would tell stories in between and stuff like that. But there was no shortage of people that wanted to ask him questions. It was
Yeah.
really interesting, like just kind of the way he interacts with people and people that they were asking him also about uh, his work with STEAM education,
Oh,
and
okay.
which is science, technology, engineering, math, and the A is for art. And a lot of people are kind of antsy about the art side of it because for some like they wonder like why am I bothering with having art as a part of this situation when I'm a physicist or I'm a mechanical engineer or what have you, like what does art do for me in terms of like being a part of my craft, so to speak?
Mm,
And he like, and his response was basically like, without the the uh, art, you don't have the story to tell about what actually this stuff means scientifically. It's like you might have all of the technical knowledge, but if you can't communicate it back out,
yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't really accomplish what they're after.
Yeah. It's there needs to be like a good balance, I think, between all those. I mean, it's hard like to wrap your head around certain stuff. Like I think, you know, it's definitely certain. Some of those categories are probably easier for others, and then the other ones aren't, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard like to try and grasp everything. But yeah, like each plays a part in it, even if you don't sort of realize it. From like the flip side of like, well, why do I need to know the math or this or that for it? It's like, well, here here's how it helps, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of his many examples that he gave about it, that was, he remembers back in uh, junior high or high school, like one of his teachers was talking about geology and glaciers, and he was just this teacher described glaciers as a river on quaaludes, and and that just made perfect sense. Like it really describes what's going on, why it behaves the way it does, and things like that. And and it's that storytelling about what a glacier is and how it interacts with the world that is why he remembers it like, X number of years later, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I was like, ah.
Yeah, I think we have this problem of thinking that like, okay, this is how we're supposed to teach stuff because this is how we've traditionally done it, so it has to be like the only way we do it. It's the only way that works, even though everybody tends to learn things differently. So if you
Mm-hmm.
can, you know, use different ways to teach the same thing, and I think it's a lot better than just like, okay, it has to be like this way only. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
that. Like, but oh, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned like the example you gave. Oh, okay, I get that now. Like,
There's now a visual to go along with the story. This is what this means visually. It's like, oh,
yeah,
rainbows. So yeah,
but
that was really cool. Just hearing him talk about what about that sort of stuff. And like one of the things that makes Adam so good at what he does is that he's just really excited about everything he does. And so it,
yeah,
it's kind of one of
that
those
helps.
things like the energy is infectious kind of thing.
Yeah. Did you what other did you hit any other panels? Was that the last one on?
That was one of the big ones. The other one I got was a panel about SETI, the Search Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And one of the things that was really interesting about that particular panel is that two of the all of the people on the panel were world-class scientists. Like two of them are actively working for NASA. Another
Oh,
one of them
nice.
is a world-class astrophysicist. He's even got a sir on his name, like he got knighted by the Queen kind of level of
Oh, okay.
and and the other guy and the last guy on the panel was one of the lead engineers of um, the Watson project, the
Oh,
IBM's
okay.
AI, deep
Yeah,
learning.
yeah.
So it was just kind of interesting dealing with hearing them all talk about kind of the really difficult science that they are dealing with. That is the kind of informs the extraterrestrial intelligence stuff, and sort of like while like the whole like looking for ET is the stuff of science fiction, but there is actual like practical results and science that is being done as a result of like um, it's not just burning time and energy and intelligence. It's
Uh,
like they still are gaining a deeper understanding of the universe around us, the nature of stars and exoplanets and things like that, because that's how when you're looking for the intelligence beyond us, it's like you're gonna have to learn about to know these other aspects of our own planet and the planet and other planets really well, so that way you can determine whether this is a likely place to find this kind of life or not.
yeah.
And it was just and it was really cool. Like and also they were talking about like what the Watson project is doing for them because it's they're using it uh, to analyze the data that the radio telescopes are bringing in. Uh, 50 terabytes of data a day
Oh,
are generated.
damn.
So it's like, and going through all that by hand would take a fair amount of
Oh,
effort.
yeah. Ah, cool. Yeah,
So,
I think to kind of like sum it up, I think what one of the things that's I think unique about this con is, I mean, if I talked about panels that were, had more like uh, entertainment, like movie stars or television stars, that sort of thing, and then you had
hmm
panels, obviously with Adam Savage, but you're like panels that were like more tech science focused, and it's like that's really cool that a convention can have like that aspect to it, like that, it's not just like one little thing. I think that's the neat thing about this convention, and I hope they continue
Mm-hmm.
to grow on that, like kind of use the tech and the science thing to make it unique compared to other comic cons, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that is one thing that was not that I definitely liked about this one is that like it's not just one thing, and that's a nice change of pace for a lot of the stuff too. Get to see what you know, geek culture encompasses far more than just the, the Iron Man movies and stuff like that. And that was
Yeah,
a nice. It is nice to see this con like kind of separate itself by saying we that they 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 do more of that than
yeah.
about the other aspects.
I think I will say like I ran into some a buddy from a previous job there who was working at one of the booths that was helping his friend. He did
Hmm.
say like the 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 layout of this one this year, this is the second year, like was different. Like I will say it was kind of weird having like the middle of the like exhibit hall kind of barren. Like there were a
Hmm.
few kind of big things, but it was like it kind of felt like it was a lot of wasted space, and like everything was like on the right side and the left side. Um, and my buddy was saying like last year they had the celebrity kind of booths and photo op stuff like pushed over kind of like in the back to one of the sides, and so
Hmm.
by having it that way, like it sort of forced anybody that wanted to go that had to kind of go through the vendors and the artist alley and that sort of thing. Whereas this year, like they put the celebrities more uh, in that kind of center spot, and then they just put like
Hmm.
the black curtains like behind them, so people couldn't just like take pictures and stuff from
Right,
behind.
right.
But what he was saying, what he noticed a lot of people thought there wasn't anything beyond those black curtains, and like I,
Hmm.
I knew there was some stuff over there, but like when I had trouble finding um uh Amy Davis Roth's booth to grab her robot coloring book that I grabbed.
Hmm.
Like I thought she was like the artist alley was on the other side of the convention center, but then when we met up, it was like, oh no, that's over on that side. It's like uh, I will say the layout was a little strange compared to last year, but I don't know. What were
Yeah.
your thoughts?
It they definitely like with it with being year two, they're definitely trying out a lot of new ideas. And one of the things that people had brought up from last year was that certain parts of the con felt a little bit enclosed. Like there was a lot, like if you were in waiting for certain some of the events, like it could feel like you're a little bit claustrophobic with all of the other stuff going on. So like I can see why they thought it might be a good idea to kind of move things out a bit further and give everyone a little bit more space to move through the show floor. Um,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
biggest
it
problem
did.
my biggest problem was that
Oh.
the finding the panel rooms was a lot more difficult than I would have expected.
Yeah, that was weird too because there were like the ones that I went to were mostly in the bigger ones outside, but like the Robert England one was inside. But yeah, it was like they were. You had the exhibit hall. It was like hall 1 through 3 or something, like right in the center, and then they had some sort of outside rooms of that, but like
Mm-hmm.
they weren't really easy to find. Like I used the map like on the Comic Con like app to kind of give me an idea of like, oh, okay, it's over in this area, but yeah, it was. I mean, I guess if you're familiar with the convention center like layout, it's probably no problem. But yeah, they were. I kind of felt the same way. Like couldn't really tell if they were maybe downstairs or like uh, off in another section or something. Or yeah, I don't know. I don't know how exactly they can fix that, but
It's like the to me, it's like you fix that by um yeah, putting a compass rose on your map, uh, putting like
yeah,
signage on up that clearly describes what room is what. Like because like the the SETI panel, like the signage that says which room is which is on one side of the hallway, but that side of the doors on that side were not entrances. You had to go
oh,
around to the other side of the room to get in for the entrance they were letting people in. So that was just sort of like, wait, what?
that that
It's
it sounds a lot like when
yeah.
we were trying to find Amy's uh like booth, her row. They're like, okay,
Hmm.
no one has their sign up. Is this row A or is this row B? Like, which one is this?
Yeah. It's like they need like just a few more of the like the really tall like from the ceiling banners to kind of like give a little more orientation. That's like
Yeah,
the it's not quite yeah. I guess that's the main thing I would say if I was to critique them. That'd be would like add a few more reference points to find what you're looking for.
yeah,
So.
they're still kind of. It seems like they're still in a mindset of just like they want everyone to just explore, and it's like kind
Hmm.
of, I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's like that can be an annoyance 'cause if you're like trying to find something specific, like hey, I want to find
Yeah.
this area so I can go to this panel or this person's booth or something, and I get you want me to check everything out, but you're wasting my time, kind of like if I
Hmm.
need to get somewhere specifically, but I
Yeah. It's like I don't mind exploring, but can you also help me get where I need to go?
yeah, I will
Although
say
to be
I.
fair, this only go ahead. Sorry,
Oh
go ahead.
no, no, go.
I say like the to be fair, it is still just the second time they've done this con at all, so
Yeah,
I'm sure next year it'll even a lot of these things out.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully they um, continue to grow and figure things. It's
Hmm.
sort of wonder if they'll kind of like look at what other bigger conventions are doing and maybe kind of mimic those. Or I will say because I ended up on Sunday getting a picture with Gary Fisher, Carrie Fisher's dog. Which
Hmm.
is sort of joked with someone as not that Carrie Fisher hadn't made it big already, but just like you've made it big when people like will go to wait in line and pay to like take pictures with your dog, you know.
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah, they what they did with their because I mentioned like earlier they had kind of a celebrity row in the exhibit hall. Um, they had like a separate like I say this not to disparage the other celebrities that were there, but like the bigger ones, I would say, or at least the more relevant ones now were in
Hmm.
like this other separate like ballroom section, and uh, I did kind of like how they had like a monitor up, and they had it listed like okay, um, if you're in group like or they had like okay here's this person, they're in A, they're in B, and then they had you like okay, if you got your ticket or something, like you it would list it on there like okay, it's group, you're in group 1, and so it would show like okay, here's group 1, this is when the pictures take are going to be taken, and then here's when you can line up like a separate time, so then this way, instead of just like okay, all the pictures over here will have everybody just get in line and just kind of create this giant mass and block stuff and everything. It's like, all right,
Hmm.
here's when you can come and line up. So there's no real like point to do it now. Like just come at this time. We'll push you
Right.
into this separate room so you can line up in there, and then it's away from everything. Like it's that was definitely a cool thing. I thought I liked that they tried to keep as best they could like lines kind of out of the way, but I don't
Hmm.
know if they're going to be able to do that if this gets bigger and more people come to the convention. But at least it's a, a a nice little thing for now.
Yeah, it seems like it's like it seems like they really have a lot of solid ideas about where they can go. And yes, it's interesting to see how they execute them going forward because they have a lot of uh, they have a lot going for them. Like people are really excited. They've got lots of lots of good people showing up to be a part of it and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think overall it was good experience. I mean, it's definitely nice not having to worry about getting a hotel, and transportation is was pretty simple. I mean, especially for me, it was super easy. But uh,
Hmm.
so that's definitely a nice factor into the the favorable category. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say um, I trying to think. How would you compare first year and this year? You think it's
I think overall this year they did better. They're I think next year they will actually like hone in on how SVCC is going to run. Like they
yeah,
did year one and they just got it going. Year two they kind of tried to uh sort of overcompensate for some of the problems in year one, and then in year three they're gonna be like, okay, we got it to go. We kind of got an idea where we want it to go, and now how do we actually like kind of narrow our focus and get it where we want it to be, kind of thing.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the impression
yeah.
I get.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree as well.
And it's like it's hard to be too judgmental because it's like putting on any sort of convention is just such a
Yeah,
massive undertaking. Like I did when I think about what these organizers have to do to pull together this sort of event, it's just kind of like wow. The fact that this happens at all and it goes as smoothly as it does is like a minor miracle.
yeah, definitely. So like our hats off to the crew at the
Hmm.
SVCC, and we look
Yeah.
forward to year 3.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and anything that we say that's a critique is just that, a critique. It's not a this is terrible. It's kind of a this, if different, would be even better than it is already, which is pretty good. So,
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah. I would definitely agree. Oh, well, Any other final thoughts or?
Hmm. Um, my final thoughts would be like, participate in your local convention with your in your local conventions. Like, we really enjoy ours. The Silicon Valley Comic Con is pretty rad. If you aren't here, like, you're getting this over the internet someplace, like, find a cool place to hang out with people near you. It will improve your community. I think getting everyone together to remind ourselves why we enjoy going and doing these things is one of the more important things we can do as a group.
Yeah,
And I think events like this really help cement why we enjoy doing this and why we keep coming back.
yeah, yeah, and I hope that like there's this more and more conventions kind of pop up and appear and everything like that, and I hope I hope this one continues to uh, focus on having like cool entertainment stuff as well as cool tech stuff and just uh, keep that focus on hitting all these different sort of aspects, like you said, of the quote unquote geek culture. And I think that will sustain the convention for a while. Like
Hmm.
keep it different from others that that are around already or pop up. And so yeah, next
Yeah,
year
definitely.
hopefully
Next
we'll be there.
year.
And but yeah, so that's gonna do it for this little special SVCC episode of Robots Attack. I want to thank Caleb for being here, for being awesome, for Nova. It's still super cool that she was able to meet one of her namesakes. Like that'll be a
Hmm.
memory you'll have forever. So Silicon Valley Comic Con gave you that.
Yeah, and it was totally awesome.
And yes, I
And
am Joe, and we want to thank you all for listening. And that's gonna do it for this. And we'll be back. Keep an eye on Robots Attack. So follow us on. You know what? Hey, you did it on the show. You tell them, Caleb.
that's right. If you want to keep in touch with us, even when we're not on the air, you can go to facebook.com/robots attack show. That's our fan page there. Or you can go to twitter.com/robots attack me, or the best place for everything robots attack, robotsattack.me.
That's right. All right, everyone. Take it easy, and we'll catch you next time.
Later.